to methyl mercury by some microorganisms. Okay. All right. So when mercury gets into the water, some microorganism in the soil could convert it to methyl mercury. Very, very toxic chemical, which destroys your kidney easily. It affects your respiratory organs. It affects your cardiovascular system. So it's a major problem. And the silt and the sediments, the discoloration of our water bodies affect aquatic life in the long term. All right. And when those things happen, you are creating an environment for some microorganisms to grow because they need that kind of environment to grow. So the problem is huge. And you have people who are also, their source of water is from those rivers that are contaminated. So look, it has a cascading effect. We have problems along the way which we need to fix. We need to tackle this Galamsey problem and tackle it very well. We can protect our water bodies. I was reading somewhere that's like, if this thing continues around 2030 or so, we should be importing fresh water into Ghana. That would be a disaster. That would be a disaster. We need to protect our water, but we need to protect the environment. We need to find a way to mine the gold and still protect our water bodies. That's what I think. Because you're not going to ask the boys in Akwetiake, they're on the right to stop mining and they will accept it. Straight up, because they are making a ton of money out of there. And the money they are making, the gold they are extracting is also affecting our GDP. So let's have a very thorough and pragmatic steps to curb down the thing and still mine the gold and protect the environment. And I believe that if you look at the policies of the gold board, they're going in that direction. Let's support them. Let's see what is good. Let's leave out the politics of it. All right. I mean, we politicize this thing and political capital out of it. But the reality is that, like my friend will say, Galamsey is a monster and we need to face that monster squarely.
One, so from what you said, a few things. You are not with those who say do everything possible to flush them out. Make sure Galamsey does not happen at all. You are not with them.
No. I disagree. Unless you want to tell me that Galamsey is the illegal mining. So if you say illegal mining should stop, yes, illegal mining should stop.
So from a mining community, when they say Galamsey, what are they talking about?
Galamsey, I mean, technically it's a jargon. Technically when they say Galamsey, looking at the illegal kind of mining. But we can go into small-scale, legitimate small-scale gold mining. That is proper. You have all the license. You have all the conditions to fulfill. You have to reclaim the land. Make sure that the land is not destroyed. The water bodies are not destroyed. We should be looking at that way instead of looking at the illegal mining.
So for you, the target should be how do we regularize and regulate?
Perfecto.
Okay. So that is the very first step for you.
I think so.
So ultimately, we might get to a place where we are doing mining for you that does not affect our environment. That does not create the problems that we are worried about.
Definitely.
But you don't see, you don't agree with anything. Because there are people who even go to the extent of saying, if the gold is giving us problem, let's leave it in the ground and let's say nobody mines.
It's just taking the easier route, all right? I mean, other countries have gold. They mine the gold and make their countries better. They use the gold to develop their countries. So why can't we do the same thing and still protect the environment? It's doable. Okay. We can mine the gold and protect the environment. That's how we have to look at it. Ban it completely. I mean, look, let me tell you something. You try to ban it completely, you're going to have a problem. The boys are going to go up in arms with you. They're going to fight them. If you send military people or whatever, they're going to fight them. Because that's their livelihood. So you need to look at what they are going to. You need to also address that part of the equation. I mean, what's the employment rate in this country? Very huge. So if somebody has a means to get out of the poverty that our policies and whatever have created, and you say they should stop, you think they're going to let it go? No, they won't let it go easily. Okay. And lives will be involved. So I think that we need to approach this thing practically. Let's be honest with ourselves. Let's stop this ostrich behavior, playing ostriches. It's a problem. We need to tackle it and tackle it properly so that we can still get our gold. Why do you go begging for money, borrowing money, when you have gold sitting there in your country? What? How do you think that the people who loan us the money will think about us?
I see. So leverage on the gold in your country. But the interesting thing is that when you listen to people talk about a problem, do you feel that they demonstrate an understanding of the issue enough?
I don't think so. See, let me tell you something. You know, this brings me to something very interesting. I mean, during the by-elections we had in Akwetia recently, all right? You listen to our brothers from the MPP side. They were making arguments like, oh, we left the Tamale seat for you, so also leave the Akwetia seat for you. I mean, that argument was, I'll quote their own brother, Obiba JK, who said, warped logic. No, that's not logic. What does the boy bring to table? Asumedu is into Galamsey, all right? This is somebody who knows everything about Galamsey. I don't like theories. People talk about theory. In this country, a lot of people sit there and talk about it. They have no knowledge about what happens on the ground. Okay. This is somebody who is in Galamsey. So tell me that, look, if you vote for him, he understands the issues. He's been into it. He knows it. This is somebody who can help develop policies which you fight the thing. If MPP made that argument, that would be a sound argument. But to say that, don't go because we also didn't go in Tamale. Nah, that wasn't it. So that is it. I mean, people don't understand the problem as it stands. They just theorize. They go and talk about theory. I mean, like I said, word salad. That's what we do. We don't know the problems.
Okay. So for you, there is a problem.
There is. We're destroying our environment, destroying our waters. It's a major problem.
Okay. But can that be blamed on the typical artisanal miner?
No. These days, it's big-time business. High sophisticated equipment on the ground, destroying. I mean, people have 20, 30, working on the land completely. I mean, they can destroy the 10 acres of land in a day.
So that is not the Galamsey you grew up with?
That's not the Galamsey we know from Akwetia. No, that's not the Galamsey we know. That's not the Galamsey. This is a big business. It's at a stage where, the Consolidated Diamonds Limited, they were using high equipment to mine and the articulated and the excavators. That's what we are seeing now. So what we see now it's not Galamsey. It's not what we know as Galamsey in the days past. This is a big time business. That's why I think that we should go have official license to do your small scale mining. And the policies and all the things that comes with it, you abide by them. You reclaim the land. You make sure that there are protocols now. There are methods which can win, and all those chemicals and things will make sure that they don't get into the environment. They don't damage the environment. I mean, look, the health implications of all those things. I mean, look, there's an anecdotal evidence. I mean, like we're having a lot of kidney problems in Ghana, the youth especially. All right, you could trace it back there, even though I don't have any data. Scientific data to prove that. But you ask yourself, why should that be the case? And they said some hospitals are having kids born with teratogenic effects, with defects and all that kind of thing. You can trace all of them to because mercury does that, cyanide does that. Okay. All right, so we can make a case that some of the problems you already started seeing, the health implications could be traced down to the mining. So we need to solve that problem.
Great. But if we don't, you were just talking about some of the health implications we are seeing. If we fail to, and the situation stays the same, how about Hannigan?
We have to import water into Ghana? Can you imagine that? Look, we have our problems, which we are trying to fix. You don't want to add water to it. You don't want to import water. We have all our rivers. The streams are there. We don't have to damage that to begin with. And you don't have to destroy your environment. You don't have to... Look, we talk about... So let's look at the situation. Listen, assuming we do nothing about it, we mine everywhere they find gold, they mine it. We destroy all our river bodies. I was home recently, and I saw River Moore. When I was growing up, that was a big river, River Moore in Boedia.
Okay.
But I look at it now and it saddened my heart. Everything is completely gone. It's no longer like a river. And then when you drive over the bridge, it doesn't exist anymore. But no, we can't do that. All right? Look, if you look at history carefully, cities or towns were sited around river bodies. The fact. And if we destroy all the river bodies and we have to import water, people don't even have food to eat and we want to import water for them. Well, to drink? Fresh water into the country? No. We can't. Look, let's not even imagine the implications of doing nothing about it. We have to do something about it. It's just crazy. Let's still think about it.
What about the health effects? Explain to us how, because you were talking about what mercury does, what cyanide does. For a lot of people, you are not there. I'm not in a Galamsey community. So exactly how bad can it get, and how do we see the effects?
Hey, the effects are look. That's our look. Probably we need to put a team of researchers together and then look at the data from hospitals and whatever. You can see clearly that there is an effect on our kidneys. Okay. All right. Kidney. Look, you see a lot of youth going at the dialysis clinic now, at the Kolebu dialysis clinic. Look, I'm not saying that you cannot have kidney problem, but it used to be very old people. Yeah. But now we are seeing a lot of youth going there. Why do you think that is happening? Let's just look at it carefully. All right? And we have situations where women are given the rate of children having been born with teratogenic effects. I mean, like without arms, without legs, without that kind. That is huge. We need to take a step back and look at it carefully. What is causing all these problems? And I have no doubt in my mind that cyanide and the chemicals they use in the mining, could be part of the problem, in addition to other things. So we need to look at it. There's a health implication there. And if you go buy fish somewhere, what if the fish that you are buying they caught the fish from a river body that has been contaminated with cyanide, and it contains cyanide because there's what we call bioaccumulation. You could accumulate mercury. Or the methyl mercury in those aquatic lives. So you are going to eat fish that contains mercury. So indirectly, you may think that you're buying the fish far away from river bodies, but you're buying contaminated fish.
See.
All right. So we need to be very, very careful about this Galamsey issue. We've got to.
Because there are those who say, I can afford bottled water, so I don't have to worry about this whole man.
You see, there's something. I think it was Pearl Buck who said, you see, the might of a nation, all right? Mm-hmm. If you want to measure how mighty and good a country is, it's measured by their ability to take care of the weaklings amongst them. The weak ones are the weakest amongst them. Okay. All right? So if you are thinking that, it's just me, I can afford to buy, bottled water, that's fine, that's you. But what percentage of the population cannot afford that? By the end of the day, that population that cannot afford it will still rely on the water bodies that get contaminated, and they get medical condition, they end up in the hospitals get choked. So when maybe your mother or your sister needs medical help, they go there, the place is choked because we have not attended to the problem, and our hospitals, our emergency rooms are choked. Our dialysis units we can't even afford to put people on because we don't have enough. So you can't just look at yourself alone. Our roads are not good. I go buy a 4x4 or whatever. Electricity is a problem. I go buy a generator. Ultimately, it comes back to you because we live in a society. What affects me affects you. And what affects you affects me. That's how we have to look at it. We have to be each other's keeper in this country. That's how we have to start looking at this our country.
Well, Professor Wutor is president NEC Pro from Canada. There's another one, because recently I heard something that because I somehow get to monitor American television to a large extent and through YouTube. So I realized there's a term that we are using now that I first heard through American television: opioid crisis. Now, you're a pharmacist. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? When they say we have an opioid crisis, what does that mean?
So so let's look at it. If you have a crisis, that means that you have a problem, a major problem at hand, all right? So opioid crisis is when you have a crisis with a problem, a public health, a severe public health problem with the use of opioids. Okay. Now, opiates are, they are natural, synthetic, or semi-synthetic drugs which could be used for either medicinal purposes or for recreational purposes. All right? And it's a big problem in our part of the world. I want to say that, look, it basically boils to the issue of demand and supply. Okay, when there's a demand for it, the supply, suppliers will find a way to provide them. Okay. Unfortunately, we have a very high demand for opioids, both for medicinal and recreational use in this part of the world, in Ghana. So that is where the problem is, okay? And you can't destroy the youth of this country with all these drugs. Now, because, look, they get hooked onto those drugs, destroys their families, our healthcare system gets choked with their mental health patients, people who have destroyed their issue. And it becomes a very complex issue, all right? Can you imagine, if you have a very large population of this country being addicted to drugs? They spend fortunes buying the drugs. They will go about stealing money to buy the drugs.